Let me introduce myself first. I'm Ramiro Salazar, Director of the San Antonio Public Library. I'm so pleased to see all of you here. This is a very special occasion for the San Antonio Public Library, as well as for the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio. We're celebrating and we're kicking off our 11th annual Learn and Remember initiative, system-wide initiative, citywide initiative. This program was created almost a little over 10 years ago, actually, with the idea of using the Holocaust, one, to honor and remember the victims. Using the Holocaust is a tragic incident and something in history, and to use that historical event where millions of lives were taken, one, to keep that memory alive, to learn from that incident, to use that program to teach tolerance, to teach the community and educate the community about the importance of embracing our differences, about pushing back against hate, to speak up when one witnesses hate. And so I'm proud of the fact that the San Antonio Public Library has partnered again with the memorial, the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio, to bring this program. And now we're going on our 11th year, and it continues to grow. It's a very important program, initiative, especially today, where we see a lot of division in our country. We still see and experience incidents and expressions of hate, of intolerance. And so we have a fight to continue. We need to continue to push back. So that's one of the reasons why Learn and Remember, which we celebrate in the month of January. In January, we celebrate International Remembrance Day, to honor the victims of the Holocaust and to remember the Holocaust. That's why it's important to continue this program. And I'm very proud, again, that it's been now on our 11th year, and we continue to partner with the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio and other partners. I'm happy today we have our Mayor Nirenberg, who I'll invite to the podium shortly to make some remarks. And we also have our State Senator Menendez, who will also make some remarks. At this time, I would like to recognize some individuals in the audience. I'll start with our partner, Leslie Davis, who's Director of the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio. We partner also with the San Antonio Public Library Foundation. They help the San Antonio Public Library System raise funds to support this program. So I want to recognize Amy Hone, who's our Executive Director of the Library Foundation. Gil Castillo, who is a member of the Executive Committee of the Library Foundation, is also here. So thank you both for your continued support. We have members of the Library Board of Trustees. Ms. Joanne Harris, who represents District 2, is here. Marcy Inns represents District 9. She's here. And Beth Graham, representing District 10. She was here a while ago. There she is. Thank you all for being here. I also want to recognize Nami Etchloff, I hope I pronounced it correctly, CEO of the Jewish Federation of San Antonio. I give it a try. I'm also pleased to see our Chief of Police, McManus, is here. Thank you, Chief, for being here. Our Assistant City Manager, David McCary, is here also. The library is part of his portfolio. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I have not missed anyone, and I'll look at staff to make sure we covered all board members that might be here. Again, thank you all for being here. Again, we're very proud that this will be our 11th year of offering this citywide program for the entire month of January. We're programs, some virtual programs, some exhibits will be offered as part of this effort, again, to enlighten, to educate the community about what happened in the Holocaust, and to learn from that. At this time, it's my pleasure to invite to the podium our Mayor, Ron Nirenberg. Mayor?
Good morning. I won't be long, but I do just want to say a few things. The reason why I come to this event, I think it's 11 years now, Ramiro, 11th annual Holocaust Learn and Remember series, is for a few reasons. One of them is to say thank you to our San Antonio Public Library and the Public Library Foundation, of course, Howie, and his vision to make this program a reality as well as the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio. The real reason why I'm here, though, is I'm a dad. And I have a deep belief, regardless of any station I might hold in the city, that every person deserves to live in dignity. And unfortunately, on the walls of this museum, you can see some of the most obscene ways that humanity has gone in the other direction. What I think is most important about this museum, though, and this program is not just the atrocities that we have borne witness to in what is modern-day Europe. Let's remember, it wasn't that long ago that this occurred. What's as important about those events are the events that led up to the Holocaust and the rotted root of ignorance that is blooming in these scenes that you see on the wall. I don't think any of us are surprised to hear that the level of anti-Semitism and acts of hate that we see around the world and even in our own communities here in the United States are at the highest level that they have ever been since just the time before the Holocaust. We are seeing those same roots being grounded in our communities right now. And so the important part about this series is that we recognize our responsibility, our obligation to learn our history and to ensure that our young people understand what hate looks like and know the causes of genocide. Because we are seeing those sorts of events and acts and speech play out on our own streets here in San Antonio, in our own halls of Congress and the legislature, where more and more division and marginalization is condoned. So this series is a very powerful opportunity for San Antonio to demonstrate what it does best, which is to bring people together and to commit ourselves to building a community in which everyone lives in dignity. I do want to say I'm always thrilled to be in a program which recognizes these sorts of programs with my friend and our state senator, Jose Menendez, who we all owe a debt of gratitude for making the responsibility to educate our young people on the Holocaust state law. Thank you very much, Senator Menendez. But I think this series, again, is an important one. It's a beneficial one as a community to learn and to participate in, but it's also an obligation that we have as neighbors to ensure that we do attend the program, learn the lessons, and pass them on. My son was educated in this building when he started as 1 year old, and so this was part of his experience, and I'm very glad for that because I do hope, number one, that I can raise a child, that my wife and I can raise a child who lives with compassion, but you can't do that unless you learn about what that looks like and what it looks like when it's not happening. So thank you all for being here. I'm so glad to see all the seats filled. The pandemic years were not kind to programs like this, but they persisted. So congratulations, Ramiro, to the museum, to the foundation for making this happen. And once again, congratulations on the 11th Annual Holocaust and Learn and Remember program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to publicly thank you. You have always been a strong supporter of our libraries, which reminds me that the theme for this year's Learn and Remember is censorship. And the Mayor has been extremely supportive of our efforts to push back against any efforts to remove books from our collections, to silence authors. And so I want to express our appreciation for that. At this time, it's my pleasure to invite to the podium Senator Menendez. Senator.
You know, in Austin, well, first of all, let me say thank you, Ramiro. Thank you to you, Howie. Thank you for all of the folks with the vision for us to be able to stand in this room, to bring us together. It's a wonderful morning to be here at the Holocaust Memorial Museum. You know, and as we embark on this 11th annual Holocaust Learn and Remember series, I hope that we can all take time to reflect on what's on the walls, on this dark, dark period in our history. You know, and as we prepare for the next legislative session that starts tomorrow, I remember the '86 legislative session, and it's good to see, at least I see one of my friends who helped me have this idea. It was really the four ladies in the car when, yes, exactly. And I couldn't believe it then, the statistics about the young people in college that were not aware of what happened, or the number of deaths, or even, Mayor, how Hitler came to power. So many were confused and thought that it was through a military act, and they didn't realize it was through political. It was through so many of the things that we're seeing today, the marginalizing of people, the blaming, the scapegoating. And so it is my hope that because of this bill, we can discuss the Holocaust in our classrooms and ensure that generations across the state of Texas will be aware of this and we can prevent future genocides. Like the mayor said, we must teach our young people compassion, empathy, cultural competency, and encourage them to uphold all human value. So it's programs such as this, Ramiro, as the Learn and Remember series, that are perfect examples of how we can continue to honor the lives that were lost and those impacted by this horrific atrocity. I believe that this isn't just about honoring the memory of those who were impacted, but also ensuring that these lessons of our past, our dark past, remain clear in our moral and social consciousness in order to prevent future genocides ever again. We need to work together to focus and help our society. I know the chief was recognized, but I will tell you that every event, every time I've been here, especially recently when we had some protesters, the chief was quick to respond. And in Austin, sometimes people will, in a negative tone, say that a certain legislator is a perfect example of representative government. And I was thinking about that in the complete opposite way, listening to our mayor and feeling the pride that I have of every time I hear him speak, and I see him at so many events that are maybe not the biggest, maybe not the most popular, but the right ones. He's always present, always making us proud. And so you are an example of representative government that makes you feel proud of the community that elected you. So I'm very, very proud. I'll be leaving here in a little bit. I'm going to go get my family. That's why I was late. We're packing to go to Austin for the legislative session for the swearing-in ceremony tomorrow. But it is an honor to represent all of you in Austin, Texas, whether you live in Senate District 26 or not. We're all part of one community. So thank you very much, Ramiro. Thank you for the invitation, Howie, for what you're doing. And I look forward to working with you on better and more, growing this and making this compulsory. I'd like to make this a bigger, stronger part of our educational process. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for your continued support of libraries in general as well. So, a series like Learn and Remember couldn't be possible with valuable partners. And the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio is a key partner for this series. We work together very well, we collaborate, we come together and create and agree on a theme and the various programs that we will offer. And so I just want to publicly express my gratitude to the museum and its staff for partnering with the San Antonio Public Library to offer this program to the community. At this point, I would like to invite my good friend and partner, Leslie Davis-Smith, director of the museum, to make some remarks.
It's always kind of odd standing on the sides and listening to all of these eloquent speakers that come before me, the movers and shakers, the change makers in our community that really help us as partners impact what we are doing. And so to all of you in the room, thank you so much for being with us, for partnering with us. We are thrilled, beyond thrilled, to be part of the 11th annual Holocaust Learn and Remember program. This year focusing on censorship. We've worked really hard as a professional team with the library team to really figure out how we can connect today's issues, today's actions with what we are trying to teach and connect those lessons, as have been mentioned, of the past to a more educational experience today for students and adults throughout our community that can relate to how individuals were feeling in the late 1930s, 1940s to what's going on in our world today. And so hopefully we have done a good job of doing that in the programming that you will see throughout the month of January. As everyone has mentioned, we have incredible partners. We couldn't do any of it without them, from our elected officials to our educators to the police and law enforcement officials in our community, who now, by the way, have mandatory obligations to work with us in terms of training throughout the community. So we are thrilled with that and are currently educating over 500 law enforcement cadets and professionals throughout the community. So that's a wonderful addition to our programming. But I also wanted to take a moment to also recognize the professional team, and I know I will miss some folks in this, but to thank Morgan, Scott, and others at the San Antonio Public Library who have been tremendous partners with us in developing these programs for our area, as well as Dr. Jessica Hanshaw, who is our Education and Curations Manager, and Allison King, who is our Programs Associate here at the museum. They are truly the minds and the inspiration behind most of this, and so my heartfelt thanks to all of you in working with us in continued success. We are excited. We are starting our first program in just a little bit. Dr. Roger Barnes, who's actually with us today, I believe, will be presenting a program later today virtually for us. And over a dozen programs throughout the month that we think will bring meaningful educational opportunities and awareness to San Antonio. In addition to that, we believe that what we have done also ties into wrapping up the month with our closing presentation by Anna Salton-Eisen, the child of a Holocaust survivor and author in our Texas communities, who will be here to present, and will tie nicely into her presentations during Texas Holocaust Remembrance Week. So all in all, throughout the month of January, it is our hope that we will definitely be reaching over 30,000 individuals and students throughout Bexar County, throughout South Texas, and educating them and continuing our job of creating a more compassionate and just society. So thank you for coming with us on this journey. Thank you for being our partners. We look forward to continue working with all of you. Thanks, Ramiro.
Thank you, Leslie. Last but not least, I'll be inviting to the podium my good friend, Howie Nestel. I was just thinking, Howie, when we met 11 years ago, I think that was the first time we met. It was a breakfast meeting, and we started talking about different things, and we just were getting to know each other. I had come here from to the San Antonio Public Library from Dallas. I was the director of public libraries in Dallas, and I had thought of this idea of creating a program that would emphasize or use the Holocaust to teach the community. So I shared that with Howie. We got excited about the possibilities. Howie's involvement with the Jewish Community Center and the Jewish Federation was a resource to this idea of creating such an event. And from that discussion, we put into action of creating, of starting this program, maybe not creating, because I really need to commend the teams of the museum and the library led by Morgan Yoshimara. They're the ones that really put this program together every year. They collaborate and they bring it to life. So I need to commend both teams for their work. Howie and I did our thing. We came up with the idea. We figured out ways to approach, in my case, the Library Foundation, how we approach other supporters, and it happened. And now we're here on the 11th year, celebrating 11 years. And I'm so proud of that partnership that we we started, Howie, and that it continues. And we hope that it'll continue forever. And with that, I'd like to invite my good friend, Howie Nestel, to the podium. He'll tell you more about the story.
Well, there's three sides to every story, Ramiro. We're going to tell the truth. So you got to listen to and hear from the movers and shakers, and now you get to listen to me for a few minutes. My name's Howie Nestel. I'm a transplant to San Antonio, originally a Laredoan, but I had family who was murdered in the Holocaust. I grew up Jewish. I lived in Mexico City. We had some anti-Semitism that we were exposed to as youth in Mexico. We moved to Laredo, where things got generally better, but I still remember our synagogue under some various forms of attack and graffiti. And certainly not a lot of people in the late 60s, early 70s knew anybody who was Jewish in Laredo. And we were in public school. I eventually ended up at Catholic school. And there were some challenges there, mostly because of disciplinary problems, not because I was Jewish. But I will tell you that, one, I am inspired, as I'm sure many of you are, by being here today and listening to these fine people speak, but also because I recognize that there is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Ramiro and I had actually sat together at well, it was before Unidos. It was called the National Council of La Raza, an international conference that was held here. Coincidentally, he and I were happened to sit next to each other, and we got to talking. We didn't know who we were when we started talking. So he was interested in things Jewish. I have my dad was born in Mexico, so I have that half American thing, and we found some things in common. Then we got together for that breakfast because we enjoyed that friendship that we had at that conference, and then we started to develop this idea. And then he brought up, is there any kind of citywide Jewish Holocaust remembrance thing? I go, there is. It's a Holocaust remembrance thing. He goes, but is it an educational program? I said, not that I know of. I can't even think of a single one across the country that's city-sponsored, city-supported, which is a citywide free event. So he said, let's do it. I go, okay, let's do it. And before we really got to know each other is how this program was formed. Now, fast forward 11 years later, we've had not only the San Antonio Holocaust Memorial Museum involved, we've had the Anne Frank Inspire Academy involved. They now moved into this building. The founder of that organization has been a presenter, my friend Dr. Roger Barnes, who I got to know, who was a professor at Incarnate Word, and I've gotten a chance to speak at his class. And then now he's involved, now he's going to be a docent. So this idea is spreading, and it's spreading against a wave or a tsunami of hate and people who are rather keep quiet. And here we are actually making more noise and drawing more attention to this. Senator Menendez referred to the people across the way, and so did you. I mean, I was here that day in this museum when we walked out, and I felt embarrassed and ashamed that there were Holocaust survivors and people who care a lot about educating our community against all forms of discrimination, and then we have to walk outside and listen to that and see that. I understand freedom of speech, but that's why we're talking about censorship this year. And what does that mean? And where does freedom of speech end and where does censorship begin? These are all very important questions, but unless we discuss them, unless we educate our children, I'm with the mayor. If my kids grow up to be financially successful and live in a cocoon, I'm going to feel like a failure as a father. But if my kids grow up to be compassionate human beings that care about our neighbors, then I will have at least done my part as a parent to help get them the tools that are necessary to survive and thrive in a global community as we're having. So it's been said that if we don't learn our history, it tends to repeat itself. I think we're there. I think it's starting to repeat itself. I'm not going to give you my political slant on it. I'm just going to say that thank you all very much for being a part of this. We talk about learn and remember, but we're also asking people to think and to act. So what are we all going to do with this information? What are we going to do with these programs? What are we going to do with the website learnandremember.org? Are we going to start to promote it? Get other people to participate in the programs? I know I am, and I thank you all for your support. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Leslie Mag and Nami, wherever you are. It does not happen unless a lot of people come to participate and grow it and push it forward. The Library Foundation. I mean, even when I told Gil, like, I'm going. I want to be there. You know, this is all part of what we can all do to improve. We already have a great community. We have to improve it, and we have to keep those fringes, that hate away from our city, away from our state, and start to push it out, you know, and eventually extinguish it. Thank you all very much, Ramiro. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, and with all friends here, been able to really take it past the goal line and score a Super Bowl win. Thank you, my friend. There we go.
Thank you, Howie, and thank you for being instrumental in this initiative. This is the end of the program. Members of the speaking program will be available, except the senator, I think you have to leave, will be available for questions from the media, but this concludes the program. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for being part of this kickoff event and for your support and any efforts to spread the word. Thank you again.
How's everything going?
Let's get a quick vote.